Well, hello.
Hi,
How are you doing today?
doing great, doing great. Today's
All right.
a day. I'm very happy.
Yeah, I bet because it's been a long time coming.
Very long time, very long time.
So I'm sure you've answered this 1,000 times, but what was the biggest difficulty of taking it from 2.5 minutes to over 100 minutes?
Well, the biggest difficulty was that when we made that fake trailer, we had no story. My best friend Jeff and I had come up with this idea when we were 12 years old, growing up in Massachusetts, where Thanksgiving is obviously a huge, huge deal. So every year there's, the school play, you go to the local recreation. There's two different recreation villages that you go to, one in Plymouth, and there's the parade. So it's a massive deal, and there was never a slasher film. So when the trailer opportunity came up, we already had it. Quentin and Robert said to me, do you want to do a fake trailer? And I was like, oh, I got it. It'll be Thanksgiving. We'll do all the kills. So then we shot those kills, and afterwards we said, great, we're done, we don't have to make the movie. We did the best parts. And then the fans kept demanding it. We're thinking, how do we do this? There's no story there. And then it was those Black Friday videos. Once we started seeing these trampling over the Christmas shopping, these viral videos of the gates going up and people crushing each other to get TVs or waffle irons or iPhones, whatever it is. For us, that was really fertile ground for a horror film. We said, now we have our theme, we have our inciting incident, we can start to structure the story around this event.
Right. So then it is interesting how you were able to modernize it with the Black Friday sales and how that can kind of go into more deeper meaning of, I mean, people need a waffle iron for cheap because they're not making enough money. Um, so is that kind of why you chose? No, the aesthetic is no longer a 70s, 80s kind of slasher film like it was in the trailer. And now it's more polished. And I was wondering if that was a conscious choice with the updating with social media and setting the story in today's timeline.
The intention was always to make a modern slasher film, even when we were kids. When I saw Mute Witness, I go, I want to make a movie like that looks like that. When I saw Scream for the first time in theaters, I thought it's such a beautiful looking film. I thought this is what I want to do. So Grindhouse works because you are sandwiched in between Planet Terror and Death Proof and
Okay.
Don't and Werewolf Women of the SS. It's like it's part of an overall aesthetic of that 3.5 hour experience. But when you take it out of that experience, and for me, it didn't work. I don't need that outside of the Grindhouse experience. The intention was always to make a movie that looked like a modern slasher film. And that's why Milan Kharema, we shot Hostel, Hostel 2, and the Grindhouse trailer. We wanted it to look beautiful. So we weren't just watching horror movies. We watched Sorcerer, we watched Five Easy Pieces for the Diner. I watched Diva, Bayonex's, Betty Blue. We watched Fellini's Toby Dammit. So there's to the Tonino Rotono photography. So there's a lot of colors. Porky's, it's a beautiful looking high school film. So we shot it to look like that. Christmas Story, also Bob Clark, in addition to Black Christmas. So yeah, you had the influences of those horror films, but I also, part of this is it's got to look like a demented holiday movie. The Thanksgiving dinner should look beautiful and lush and rich. And I went, Peter Mahaychuk, my production designer, Leslie Kavanaugh, my costume designer, we wanted these colors, like the shirt I'm wearing, all of it. Everything ties together a mood and a fall and a rich feel. It's just that, you have a bloody knife through the turkey. It's like perverting the holiday, which is what I saw the Black Friday Christmas sales happening, or perverting the holiday. And now, we go right from Halloween to November 1st. My phone starts getting text messages of Black Friday sale. There's no Thanksgiving anymore. We go from Halloween to Black Friday. So it really is about how these like sales, and you can say it's greed, but you're right. It really is, because if very few at the top are keeping all the profits, everyone's pay has been cut to shit. And so people are forced to go into these gladiator games to get, enough Christmas gifts for their kids. So all those layers of perversity and perversion of the holiday, to me, is rich, fertile ground for social commentary, satire, and really a great horror film.
Well, I think that's, the best thing about horror is that it always is taking today, the pulse of today, and, putting it in a more consumable, if you will,
Yes.
And so that's interesting. I did expect, as somebody who thought the Thanksgiving faux trailer was my favorite of that Grindhouse experience, I guess I was delighted to see that and sad, and that it wouldn't be like Maniac or like Pieces. You know, it looked like Thanksgiving that trailer would go with a double feature of Pieces, if you would. But to see
Well,
it
Pieces is my, I
modernized, like
mean,
I'm sorry.
yeah, Pieces is my favorite film of all time. So
Oh,
obviously, I have the vinyl of the Stelvio Cipriani music from Un Ombra Nell'Ombra, and I was temping it in the movie. So, obviously, like we looked at, Mother's Day Pieces, The Prowler, Maniac, all of
mhm.
those things, Nightmares, Nightmare in a Damaged Brain, New York Ripper, any of those movies from that period. The one that stuck out was Fulci's House by the Cemetery. It's shot in Massachusetts. It's got a bleak, beautiful, small town New England fall look that I love. The Prowler also has kind of fall, East Coast, small town sheriff. So those were, for sure some of the influences, along with Carpenter and Bob Clark. But I didn't want it to be a joke. I love those movies, but those movies are of the time. I mean, Pieces starts where, you have the shot of the house and the identifying title of where you are, what the time period is. So we do that, like the way the Prowler starts or the way Halloween starts, where you're like, this is a POV shot and we're saying where we are. So there are certain nods to those movies, and they have a vibe. Look, the way we shot the lenses that we use old Hasselblad glass. They're these beautiful lenses out of Japan that are brand new, but they're using 80s glass. So there's imperfections and soft focus. So, the look of it, it's beautiful, but it still has a cinematic quality to it. But to me, as much as, Grindhouse was really about fetishizing those films and trying to nail that aesthetic, I was like, I'm making a movie for modern audiences, so it can have a classic slasher feel to it. But, we're incorporating, viral videos and people being tagged in social media, and if there's a tragic event, someone wants to film it for likes rather than stop for help. So they're punished. So those are the themes that I was dealing with. And I felt like there was sort of no need to make it look
Yeah,
like Peace.
yeah.
Lisa,
The and I appreciate that you put all that, like you said, the social commentary and the modernist in it without it becoming like heavy-handed and a, a message. But it took,
Yeah, no, I don't want that. When I see Sleepaway Camp, I want a slasher movie. When I watch Dawn of the Dead, I
yeah.
want a horror movie. It's blood stains your eyes. The first time, that's all you see. I want the scares, the kill, but I also want something there that if you want to go back for seconds, so to speak, and thirds and fourths, you can go, oh, that's the theme. I wanted a movie that kids could be writing theses, high school papers on for 100 years if they chose to.
Thank you so much for your
Thank
time.
you.